This topic is, I think, not new to all of you. You have gone through this topic earlier as well. And today will almost be like getting back to these old notes for a sort of a revision, and which was for me as well. So let me start. This is the topic that I have been assigned to me, the Computer Skill Enhancement Program for the Judicial Officers. I have attended, and it was my good fortune to attend quite a number of programs in the national level on computer and hosted by the E-Committee of the Honorable Supreme Court of India. And with a matter of pride, I would say that in the state of Sikkim, I have found not a single judicial officer who is not abreast to the development in computers. And I have seen personally all the judges in my state using computers day in and day out. Most of us would use it for daily orders and judgments as well, and I know for sure that there are quite a number of judges here who type themselves as well. So these enhancement skills would not be very new to you, but I would like to cover in my deliberation about the E-Committee's initiatives and how it is actually helping not only the courts across the country, but the litigants, the publics, and the other stakeholders who actually require these kind of services. So first of all, if I have to give you a little history about the e-courts project in the country. Some of you may know, who have joined perhaps in 2005, that in 2005 the first phase of the E-Committee's e-courts project began. It was approved in 2005, but practically it started from almost 2007. Prior to 2005, what did you all see? What did you all notice? At least I noticed when I joined that there was a single computer, there was a single desktop that had to be shared by the Chief Judicial Magistrate and the Judicial Magistrate. I had joined as the Judicial Magistrate in Namchi, and there was a single computer in the stenographer's room of the Chief Judicial Magistrate's office, where there was a single desktop, and we had to share for writing our orders and judgments. In all the courts you have seen, there used to be only typewriters. And slowly, after 2005, things started changing. And this, I think, was the stepping stone, not only for the ease of doing business for the courts, but also to open up, be transparent about what we do, and be accountable for what we have done and what we have not done. 2007, as per the initiatives of the E-Committee Supreme Court of India, the high courts all over the country, they set up the E-Committees in their own high courts who would take care of the local requirements of that particular state. And in the district level as well, there was the district committee. In the first phase, the object primarily, and it was obvious, was to provide the hardware. So the majority of the of the budget was used for providing the hardware, mostly the desktop computers. There were other computers as well that could be used in your account section, in your establishment, and in the administrative section, not necessarily the courts. So then began the journey of e-committee or e-courts in India. You would notice, and I noticed quite apparently that the judges, not only in my state but all over the country, they were comfortable. They were comfortable not using the computers at all. In the first phase, laptops were provided to all judicial officers. You could see there was a big sort of a emblem pasted on your laptop, which was quite heavy for, if you compare it now. And most of the judges would just close it and keep it. They don't want to use it at all. And so, the E-Committee of the Supreme Court of India started with an initiative saying that let there be first change management. There has to be change, because with this mindset, only hardware will not work. The judges are the actual the beneficiary of using these hardware, and it has to be utilized according to the budget that we were utilizing at that relevant time. And thereafter, the E-Committee Supreme Court of India started picking up master trainers from amongst the judicial officers across the country. There were trainings, there were training programs, number of hours of training programs, not only on the technical aspect, but more importantly on the mental aspect of the judicial officers, of how to change your mindset. We were so rigid, we were so used to dictating our orders and not using the computers at all. And then later on, once we had these kind of trainings regularly, then we found that we are, I think, over-dependent on our stenographers, on our other court staff, which we could do it much more comfortably and much more easily in the comfort of our own chamber and in the comfort of our own homes. And thereafter, the first phase ended somewhere in 2015. And I must acknowledge the fact that that the then chairperson of the E-Committee Supreme Court of India, Justice Madan Lokur, I think he gave a thrust to the initiative for the first phase. And in the second phase, which started in 2015, the aim was not only to develop and cover those courts which were not covered in the first phase, to provide with the hardware, but also to develop the software for the courts. The CIS 1.0, which started, CIS, as you all know, is the Court Information System, which started with 1.0, then it started upgrading to the needs of time. And then we started having 1.2.0, 3.0, and now we are in 3.2. I will talk about the CIS 3.2, and the latest version is 4.0 in the second half of my presentation. But for now, I'd like to apprise the learned members here that in the second phase, not only the courts, but also the judicial academies, the legal services authorities, the district legal services authorities, they were all also included in the second phase of the e-courts project. And that's the reason we got in our academy, I'm sure Madam would remember, and the director, present director would also remember, that there were about 32 or 35 computers. The desktop computers that were supplied to the academy. There was a computer lab. There was a computer lab, perhaps next room or room below, for the training. These kind of trainings of the judicial officers, of the court staff, and everybody. And I must mention that in the first phase, it was not only the judges who were trained as master trainers, but from the districts, the court staffs, including the appointment of the system officer scheme there, and thereafter the staff who were quite interested in using computers, they were trained on how to use the CIS. And thereafter the journey began. The second phase ended just recently in 2023. Now the third phase has begun, and the former Honorable the Chief Justice of India, who was then the chairman of the E-Committee, I think really gave the push to the initiatives of the E-Committee and the rampant use of computers, IT and technology in the present scenario of the courts. All of us would remember that COVID time was not easy for all of us, not only for your professional reasons, but for your personal reasons as well. It was tough time. Families, friends, there were a lot of demise. We lost many of them. Not only that, the economy came down and the courts were paralyzed. I, along with Ms. Jyoti Karka here, we had the, I do not say fortune or misfortune of being then in the registry of the High Court. But we didn't know how to go about. We didn't know what to do. How should we revive? Should we open the courts or should we keep it closed? Because opening the courts were leading to contamination, were leading to a lot of staff, the judges being infected with the virus. And all of us didn't know actually how to tackle the situation at all. People were scared. They were extremely scared of this particular virus until it gradually started, I think, declining. And then it was at that moment, the Honorable Supreme Court of India, through the E-Committee, and the then chairperson, Honorable Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, the Honorable CJI, who recently superannuated, gave us this inspiration that no, the courts, the doors of courts should not be closed. It should be open. It does not mean physical open, but we should use the technology so that whoever are in need of justice should not be, they should actually be given a chance to come to the court virtually and then present their cases. And thereafter, we all know that we opened the courts, the video conferencing system began, and we all grappled how to use, first of all, the video conferencing. Jitsi was the approved app that was used because it was under FOSS, that is the free and open software. But we had a lot of problem using the video conferencing. First of all, you could see your own face there. We didn't know whether the person on the other side could hear us or not. And as I look back to that situation from now, I laugh to myself, and perhaps you may also have, that I would be screaming, I would be shouting. Not with anger, but without knowing that actually I am audible to the other person, as good as speaking face to face. And I would be thinking that perhaps the other person is not listening or cannot hear me, cannot hear my voice. And there was a lot of confusion. In the Honorable High Court, when we started, the litigants, the advocates, they started joining randomly, and then we had to literally, forgive my words, kick them out from the virtual room so that they don't disturb the proceedings. And that was the journey of the E-Committee, and I'm proud to be a part of the E-Committee, an e-courts project initiative. And here I present to you with a short presentation. And I'd like to cover my topics in these broad fields. The National Judicial Data Grid, you all know this, we'll run it through once. The Justice app, you all know what is Justice app. We have used it. And I'd request any volunteers to come here, show us how you use your Justice app, if you would like to. The virtual hearing that I just talked about, the virtual courts. Virtual court, the concept is a little different. I would like to tell you very short in a summarized form later when I go to this particular page. The e-filing and e-payment, that was also an initiative that we took during the COVID and just before the COVID, and it really helped with this particular e-payment and e-filing. And you would understand there are the honorable district judges from all the districts, and in your courts, what I mean to say is in your establishment, the district courts complex of your district, you would see the rise of the number of cases that has been e-filed compared to physical filing. Pakyong, we have just begun. The systems are now being in place. They are in the process of making these things available. And I'm sure people all over the country and the districts that we have will start using e-filing, which is much, much convenient. And I will tell you in brief about when I go to this topic. NSTEP, this is the tracking portal for our process servers. Very interesting, very helpful, and if you utilize it properly, I am sure that you will see a marked difference in the number of appearances that the witnesses would make when you start using this app on your own. And at the end of the presentation, I would like to show you how CIS 4.1 works. All right. I would have loved to show you if we had the NIC connection here. We don't have NICnet. This LAN, the network here does not have NICnet, and therefore I'm not able to access the server where this particular software is placed. Your CIS 3.2 is hosted in the NICnet, and you can connect only through NICnet for security reasons. And also, we have this 4.0, which is a dummy server right now, which is a dummy software, but you can utilize it to practice it. And I've taken out some pages where we would like to discuss it a little further. And last but not the least, some of the e-courts services portal, the applications, and some of the latest development, some app to help us all, where the artificial intelligence is used, because this is the current setup. All right. The NJDG, the National Judicial Data Grid, Sorry for the delay. See, NJDG, as we all know, is the portal where you get the data of all the courts all across the country. Now, there are three sort of an information, if you categorize in a broad way, about what information do you want or which court's information do you want. Now, when I open the NJDG portal, it will show me the number of cases as of now, this is live, across the country. Now it gives us, if you want to select your state, there are the number of states here, now I select Sikkim. And I select all districts in Sikkim. It shows that we have 1,670 total cases. And see this particular page, this is also, there is a little change. It has been revamped to this page, and which makes it actually very easy for us to understand. Earlier it used to be a little different. Perhaps many of you have used it, where you could see the pie chart and the other chart of the oldest cases, the pendency, the institution, disposal. This is our pendency, 1670, so far as Sikkim is concerned. Now if you want to see your own district, you can check. Let us say, or Namchi, you go. Namchi, we have a total cases of 498 cases, out of which civil is 222 and the criminal is 276. There are pre-trial or pre-litigation cases, there are two. And pre-litigation cases are normally those type of cases which goes before it comes to the court. You all know that after the Commercial Courts Act of 2015, Section 12A makes it mandatory for the parties to go for pre-litigation mediation before they come to your court. So many of the litigants who have commercial disputes would first go to pre-litigation mediation or even pre-litigation lok adalat. All right. So this is the age of pendency, if you see this, and if you see it in this manner, you can also see. Now, for example, it shows 1 to 3 years old, whatever it is, you can actually go and see the details of the cases right from the comfort of this particular page itself. Now see, if you have seen here, the institution this last month was 55, civil was 20 and criminal was 35. The disposal was 62, which is actually fantastic if you see compare the ratio of the institution and disposal. And out of which you can see that 22 is contested and 40 is uncontested. And the purpose of showing you this is that people across the world who have access to net can check and can see how are the courts functioning in Sikkim, how are the courts functioning in Namchi, how are the courts functioning. Namchi is a headquarter, Yangon is a subdivision, Jotham is a subdivision, and we can drill down to how is it functioning in Yangon, how is it functioning in Jotham. And this brings what we call transparency and accountability. And I think personally, and I'm sure all of us would agree, that this is one of the greatest developments so far as the judiciary is concerned over the past 20 years. Now, if you want to see the number of disposal, you can check here. What are the cases that were disposed? Total is, let's say, out of criminal cases. Just an example, I've just picked up randomly in Namchi. It's not out of purpose. See, out of this, the district judge has disposed of 22, CGN 16, Jotham and Yanga 1 each respectively. Alright, if you want to drill down further, you can go. Let's say, for example, I go to CGN. Alright, these are the number of cases that were disposed of. This is pre-trial. Let's say summons cases 58. And you could see that this is a particular case that was disposed of. And you can even check the orders. If you want to print it, you can print it. Now, I'd like to ask all of you, isn't this not fantastic? I think right from one page you can drill down, you can go to any courts anywhere in the country. Now, if you want to see the high courts, earlier the first phase was only, when we started this NGDG, it was only the district courts which were covered. Thereafter the high courts came into the NGDG, and now recently even the Honorable Supreme Court has come here. This is the how you change it. For example, if you want to go to the High Court's NGDG, this is the page. Alright. Vijwala, if you're not feeling well, you can. Alright, if you're not feeling well, it's alright. Now, let's select the High Court. Let's say for our own High Court of Sikkim, there is no district, and we go to the, these are the total number of cases, 214 at the moment. And you would see the age-wise pendency of cases on this side and the type of cases that are presently in the court. That's, see, these are the type of cases, and if you want to drill down, you can, like I showed you, drill down into the kind of cases. Alright, here it would show you the ratio, that age pendency, but if you click on this radio button, it will show you, and you can from here go into the cases that you want to see. For example, there is 5 to 10 years old one, and all of us who are following the development on the road construction or the maintenance of road of the national highway, this is pending for a long time because this is a continuous process. The highway maintenance is a continuous process, and that's the reason why this particular case is here. If you want to see, you can, I think, see it here as well. These are the number of cases. But for now, I just wanted to demonstrate how NGDG is used. And if you want to see the NGDG, National Judicial Data Grid of the Honorable Supreme Court, you can also have a look here. So these are the number of cases in the Supreme Court of India at the moment. See, I think 15 years ago, we wouldn't even know what kind of cases are in the Honorable Supreme Court, what kind of cases are in the High Court. And now we have at the tip of our finger all the information that we require. So this is about the National Judicial Data Grid. Let me come back. And as I said, it is a mine actually of data. You can find the data of all these cases right here in the National Judicial Data Grid. Now the other topic that I would like to apprise and I'd like to share with all of you is the app that we have, the Justice app. I'm sure many of you must be using Justice app, isn't it so? Justice app is in fact the case management diary in your pocket. You don't need even a diary, it is in your mobile phone. And mind you, this can be used only by the judicial officers, nobody, none else. Even the officers who are in registry will not be able to use this, and judicial officers. or posted, deputed in the other agencies of the government cannot use this. Only those active judicial officers who has judicial work can utilize this app, for which you need to get your geo number, a geo code. You all have your code, right? SK 00 000 1 2 3. It started in this manner, and it started a long time ago. And once you put your geo number, you get an OTP. How do you get your OTP? Because your registered mobile number is picked up and it is already included. It's already actually fed into the data by either the district court's technical staff or by the high courts. And the OTP comes to your mobile phone. Once you log into your OTP, then what you get is, you get access, and then you can change your password. Your password should be in this particular manner, one capital, like any other password of any application that you utilize. Once you confirm, you log out, and then you log in again. This is how it is. And this is the login screen. Anybody of you, can you take out one of your mobile? Just check. If you want to check, just check along with me so that, because I can't connect it here, you all use it, right? You all use it because I found it very convenient. So far as, apart from other things, the costless generation. You know what happens is, at the end of the day, you are tired. You leave from office, and the court staff actually do not give you tomorrow's cost list. They don't give you unless you ask for it. And then suddenly, when you go to the office tomorrow, you realize to your horror that there is an order pending, or there is a judgment to be delivered tomorrow. Isn't it so? It's happened with me. I'm sure it must have happened with many of you. And even your instruction must be clear, like mine. I tell my Peshkar, I tell my court staff, see, if there is an order pending, or if there is a judgment pending, please give that file to me at least 1 week in advance. All right. But because perhaps of the number of cases or number of work or the kind of work they have to do, they forget. And tomorrow morning you come to your office fresh, and suddenly there are 3 files in your desk. One is for order, because you have heard the parties on temporary injunction, right? And you have to pass the order. The other one is an application that you had heard 2 weeks ago on rejection of the plaint, order 7/11. And one, there is a judgment of a 420 case. You know, why I picked up 420 case is there are a lot of documents to be examined there. It requires time. So then, what would you do? I would just put my hands out in despair and say, oh, this fellow and that fellow. And but I would not take a blame to myself, which actually is wrong. And it's my work, you know. And Justice app has made it very easy for us. With the comfort of your home, your office, take out your mobile, open your app, check tomorrow's case. Normally, when you open your calendar, your cause list, it will show you your civil and criminal cases. If you go right to the top, on the right-hand side, from here, if you see it on your screen, you can change the court's especially for courts like district judges, where you have commercial courts also, or special courts, because civil cases there will show you all other cases except commercial courts, where you actually have to change your establishment. So you can do that, and perhaps for the learned magistrate as well, you can see that there are a number of additional courts that has been assigned to you, and from that particular button as well, you can change and you can see the number of cases for tomorrow. You can print it out if you want, but take my advice, don't print. Printing is actually causing a lot of waste. Money, resource, nature. You have it there, you see it. Who keeps the cause lists? You tell me. After your day's work is over, would you even have a glance at that cause list? No. 1 week thereafter, you don't even know what kind of cases were there. And these cause lists, what happens? Goes to the bin. It becomes rubbish. And what are we doing? We are one of the parties actually wasting resource. So I think this is a good initiative where we don't even need to print it out. You can see it on your own. And if required, if you want to print it, this is apart from my technical presentation or the presentation here, my own experience as your colleague. You can print it in your the draft papers. There are a lot of papers where the advocates actually present it in your court, not required. After 5 years, 7 years, these are all just lying there. It's actually, you can dispose it of. Most of the courts, what they do is they burn it. But if you see one of the sites, it's all right, you know. So what I normally do, and Ms. Jyoti here also, she does in the High Court, what we did is, normally we print it on those papers which are already used. And even our cause list is in that manner, because after we use it, we just dispose it off. So if you see your Justice app login, you will see on the side button home about Justice app. Thereafter it gives you the dashboard. The dashboard would contain important cases, the calendar, your dated cases, undated cases, and log out. All right. So this is one. See, dashboard will also give you the alerts about your pending cases, disposed cases, and you can search what kind of cases is actually pending, what are disposed of, whether there is any order to be pronounced tomorrow, and so on and so forth. I particularly found it very interesting. If you go to the pending list, it will show you in a sort of a graph. See here, the case type, year-wise, the stage. The blue will show you the number of cases, and on the red line it will show you the delayed cases. It will show you the stage, and for disposed of cases it will also show you what are those, and the red lines represents those particular cases. Another interesting feature of Justice app is this particular tab button, which actually shows you or gives you an option to search cases by your case number, party name, filing number, FIR number, or the act. You must have all gone through this, but as I said, just as a way of revision, we are just running through it, all right? So you can search, like I said, about through your party name, just sort of a screenshot that I've taken, your filing number, through your FIR number, you can check, and also by the act that is in your court. This is the cause list which I said, and I'm sure most of you are using this particular feature of the app, the cause list, the civil as well as the criminal cause list, and also your calendar. In the calendar, it will show you the number of cases that are there today. If you can check here, it shows, let's say for example, there's just an example. I will take 9th of January 2019. You would see that it is 0/72, correct? So what it actually means is there are 0 civil cases and 72 criminal cases on that day. You click on it, and then you'll get the details of those particular cases. You also have the facility of case history, putting your notes where you can mention that this is a time-bound matter. It will actually, when you open it, it will click you and give you a reminder that this is a time-bound matter and you'll have to hurry it up, all right? So these are just some of the screenshots for your reference. There is also a tab for important cases where you can actually include what are those important cases. There are letters sometimes from the Honorable High Court that see there are these many cases which are pending in your court for a very long time. Please pay attention to these cases. So once that kind of information is relayed to us, what we can do, apart from depending on our Kashkars and court staff, is to include this, that there are 5 important cases which are time-bound matters, and I have been asked by the Honorable High Court to pay attention to these cases, and I put it in the important cases. Anytime these cases comes to your court, there is a reminder, and I think this is very important. And every time we open your Justice app, go to important cases, and you will see that there are these 5 lists or 7 lists or 2 lists, whatever it is. All right. In short, this, my dear friends, is Justice app. Before I move on to another slide, is there any question? Or are you all bored? Not bored. Okay, because I think we have to adopt these technological facilities that has been given to us. A long time ago, one of my senior told me that, see Karma, the courts down the line, 15 years down the line, 20 years down the line, will not be like what it is now. It will all be computers. He didn't tell me it was technology or IT. He said, it will all be computers, right? And when I look back now, I think he was 100% right. It is all computers. And if you cannot use computers, then you're almost out, you're almost obsolete. Yeah? So that is the reason why I think it is very important for us not only to revise or update on the latest legal developments, but also on the e-courts project and the latest development on the IT, so far as we use it in our day-to-day courts and day-to-day work. Now, let me tell you in short what is a virtual court. Instead of me rambling from here, because there are master trainers and potential master trainers here also, can anybody of you just, the hint is here itself, tell me what is a virtual court? Yes, madam. Yes.
So it is a court where the physical presence is not required, either litigants or even the lawyers.
Absolutely correct. Can anybody want to add on this? Yes, Professor Madam.
It eliminates physical presence of the courts, of the advocates in the courts, and it makes it easy where we can initiate our work and adjudication can be done through a virtual mode where computers play a very important role.
Absolutely correct. Bhutia Madam, would you like to try? Give some
We
inputs.
have project coordinators who helps the cases to progress.
Correct. Madam?
So I think it could also include the non-requirement of physical appearance of the accused.
Absolutely.
Especially for hearing on charge.
Absolutely.
Keep on going.
Absolutely. Because I forgot to tell you that in the second phase, when the e-courts project began in the second phase, apart from including the courts, as I said, they included other establishments which were other stakeholders, and I forgot to tell you it was jail as well. So in the fund that was provided, even the jail authorities were provided with VC facilities, the VC conferencing equipments. And thereafter began video conferencing. Thereafter began remand, when it was a routine remand. After 15 days, there has to be a remand, there is no bail application. So what you do is, you check the presence of the accused through VC, and then you extend your remand, which we have been doing day in and day out thereafter. Yes? Yes, Rohini madam, would you like to give us some input?
Virtual courts would mean virtual appearance of people that the court, the litigants and the lawyers, as well as virtual appearance at the presentation of the documents.
Absolutely correct. This also includes VC, right? SSR?
So, through virtual courts, I think it eases unnecessary hardships, especially on the litigants and also the lawyers, which is caused due to the physical requirement of physical presence.
I completely agree with you, sir. Especially when there are learned magistrates who are posted in the far-flung areas. You know the plight of the condition of roads during the monsoons, isn't it right? So, I think during virtual hearings, during video conferencing hearings, we elevate a lot of hardships so far as these litigants are concerned. Those people whose physical presence is actually not required, we can do it through VC. Mahima madam, would you like to give us your thoughts on?
So basically it's a culmination of everything that the learned judges just said. It is court through computers in a simple.
Correct. Computers play a very important role, like madam also said. Yes, Samita madam, would you like to give your thoughts?
It has made our work convenient. It's very convenient when we have virtual courts.
Correct.
Especially when examining experts, you don't have to go.
Correct. 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 All right. Madam, would you like to give us your experience on examining, especially these experts, right? We have examined, all of us we have examined.
What I usually do is the expert in Masala and MBBS cases.
Right, ma'am.
She's the only one I believe that's interested in Sikkim, so she does not come to my court. For the prosecution, she files an application for PC as per the rules, so I allow that application, and then I have this, as we all are aware, everything is at place, so I examine her through PC. She is cross-examined by the defense counsel through PC. So the expert does not have to come to the court.
Absolutely, it has made it very, very convenient. I tell my own experience. I was summoned by madam in one of the matters, where during my tenure as the judicial magistrate in Nanchi, I had examined, I had conducted the test identification parade of one accused. Now, it so happened that I was also here in Gangtok, and madam allowed me to appear through video conferencing, and it was a wonderful experience. Very easy for me, sitting in my own court. I could check all the papers, I could check all the records, and my evidence was recorded. The deposition was sent to me by email. I signed it, scanned it, and sent it back. And I think it has actually made it very, very easy and convenient for all of us. Jyoti madam, would you like to give your thoughts?
Courts help us to dispose of cases easily,
Yes.
because many witnesses who are from outside the state they can appear from through DC.
That's right.
As lives also they can appear through
That's right. That's right. I think madam has raised a very important point on hybrid hearing. also, right? Because there are lawyers who are practicing across the state or maybe out of the state as well. They would like to come through BC. We allow, isn't it so? We allow. There are lawyers, station lawyers, they appear physically, and there are lawyers who would like to appear through BC. And this is hybrid hearing. And what actually it shows is that all of us know what virtual hearing is, what virtual courts are, and what video conferencing is. And this is actually how we share and how we inform the other co-participants of our own experiences. Thank you, madam, and thank you, sirs, for your participation. And let me tell you that for this virtual court, there is a pilot project. Now, I cannot say now it's a pilot project because this has been going on for quite some time. Virtual court, per se, virtual court of the e-courts. I mean, what we talked about is the virtual court in a broad perspective, but virtual court per se, or the e-courts, they take up cases of traffic challan. And in most metropolitan cities, they have started using this virtual courts, where the traffic police, they have their app connected to their system, and their system sends it to the CIS of that particular state, that particular city, where your challan for traffic violation, for any traffic related cases comes to the court. And the magistrate sitting there taking up traffic cases, all he has to do or she has to do is sit in his system or her system and either take up that cases, pay the challan fees, and then the case is disposed of. Now what happens actually is, you see that number of vehicles that has grown in Gangtok over the years is I think astronomical, isn't it so? Go to Siliguri, you can see the number of cases, the number of vehicles. Go to cities, Calcutta, Delhi, and you will see the enormity of the motor vehicles, the problem that they have. There are lakhs of challans like this. And earlier people would come to the court, pay their challan, go back. So virtual court has made it very easy for those violators who agree to pay. Now, there are only people who agree to pay. If there are people who do not agree to pay, if there are people who say that no, I am not in violation, check the CCTV camera, I have been challaned unnecessarily. So for these type of cases, virtual hearing cannot be done. But for those type of cases which form perhaps 98 or 99% of those cases which people pay challan, but they don't have to come all the way to the court to pay challan. They will pay from the comfort of their home through GPay, through any of the mode. Then it can be taken up in virtual hearing and disposed of, right? You have already told us about virtual hearing. Now, e-filing. Before we take up e-filing, is there any question? Or would you anybody like to volunteer what e-filing is? Because just check, we started in 2020, and by November 2024, just in Gangtok, the number of e-filed cases is 1,532. We checked on 7th of November, and we could see that there were these many cases that were filed through e-filing. And I'm sure, like in the district court Gangtok, the other districts would also have, and the lawyers, the litigants have been taking this facility of the e-Seva Kendra that was also opened during COVID period. There are e-Seva Kendra opened, attached to the court complex. complex, in all court establishment, there is a staff, technical staff who has domain knowledge, who helps the advocates, the litigants to get their documents scanned, e-file it. They can help them to make e-payments, go to the portal, and they can also help litigants, lawyers to check the status of the cases through the system that has been provided there. Now, I think during the COVID time it played a major role. Like the former chairperson of the E-Committee then said that it is actually what we are trying to do is do a hand-holding for the lawyers. And the idea, as I understood, was to give an opportunity to those lawyers, to those parties who do not have facilities at their own home, who do not have scanners, who do not have computers, to come to the court complex, get their documents scanned and file it, right? But I don't know about other courts. But in Gangtok it's been quite a problem. Is that so? Because what happens is lawyers from all walk of life, whether they have established chambers, big shot lawyers, they don't want to scan it. Why? Scanning takes physical work. You need one employee to scan papers. And see, there are how many documents? Commercial courts, you have taken up. Isn't it so? The documents that are filed along with the commercial matters, especially arbitration, there is a general clauses of contract. You have almost 500 pages there. Then there are 500 correspondence. Then there are 2,000 other pages. But they don't want to employ a staff there to get these scanned, and they would like to come to the court and get it scanned because they want to e-file it. So what we have done here is, yes, we will allow them to use the facility, but first we will allow the genuine lawyers and the genuine litigants who do not have means, who do not have facilities at their home to use these kind of e-Seva Kendra in the court complex. Otherwise, the whole purpose would be wasted, in my opinion. So, e-filing is filing through your computer. Now what? I'll show you the home page. What happens is when you want to e-file your case, I'm sure some of you have gone through the portal of the e-filing, which is in the home page of the Honorable High Court as well, the website. E-payment and e-filing is together in that same page. Once you go to the e-filing page, and before that, the lawyers or the litigants, whoever it is, required to register themselves. They will have to register by providing their enrollment number and their ID. It is done by the system administrators or the admin in either the High Court or the district courts. Once they are registered, then they can use this. It is almost like opening any of your email account, or let's say Facebook. You are trying to open a Facebook account or any other social media account. What you require is you have to give your credentials, isn't it? So similarly, what happens is you have to register yourself by giving your credentials. Once that credential is given, you generate your password. And once you generate your password, once you log out, then you can log into. Once you log into, this is the dashboard for the lawyers in e-filing. In the e-filing, you have your draft, completed pleadings. For the IAs, you have objections and my cases. This is a typical dashboard for the lawyers. when they register themselves for e-filing. One good facility that I noticed here is that you can type your pleadings. If it is a civil matter, you can type, or if it's a criminal matter, your complaint, whatever it is, a bail application, you can start typing it. Save it in your draft. You have not completed. It's almost like our judgments. Whenever we have time, we start writing. The moment we are occupied with something else, what we do is we save it. But how do we save it? We save it in our own system, in our own computers. But here, the lawyers can save their work, keep it in the draft, and resume it whenever they want to come back and start. All right. All right. I think we break for a moment and refresh ourselves with tea. There is nobody from the academy to tell this, so I take this liberty, with your permissions, to break for tea. Shall we? Okay. Because too much, perhaps, will get you bored. Completed your tea. Should we start with civil start? Okay, like I had stopped in this particular page where the advocates, whoever wish to file it through e-filing, and when I say advocates, it's not only the advocates but also the litigants themselves. Litigants can also register for e-filing. They could have their account and they could also file it. This is the draft that is there, all right. Once the draft is completed, it will go to the completed pleadings box here. Because it's not live, I'm not able to show you. But if you press on this, the number of cases, 28 cases will be listed. From there, if he wants to then file it, he can directly file it. And once it is filed, then it is not within his domain at all. And mind you that once an advocate files a case, it does not mean that it is filed. It does not mean that it is, registered. It is only filed. You get your filing number. But the question is, what about objections? What about the defects in the pleadings? Now that goes to the CIS of the court, and I will show you at the end when the court staff gets these kind of e-filing cases, what do they do? How do they go about? Normally, a staff who is deputed in the Judicial Service Center or the filing section, once they get these kind of e-filing cases, they check the parameters. There are checklists, whether the font is alright, whether the size is okay, whether the page is alright, is it in A4 size, right? Is the provision of law correctly mentioned? Or sometimes it may happen that out of, if you want to file it quickly, there could be a lot of mistakes in your pleadings. Maybe a release application could be filed with a section for bail. So these type of cases are again sent back with objections. And there are these kind of objections which has to be removed. Normally it is done within a period of 15 days. Once the objections are completed, then there is registration of that particular case, and that is the time when the CNR number is generated. CNR number I will tell you, but CNR number gives you the state code, the district code, the unique number of that particular case and the year. That's how we read. For example, if it is for Sikkim, let's say Gangtok, SK GT is your district, GT01 is the district code that is given to us. Then there is this unique number, about 5 to 6 numbers of only that particular case, and then the year, either 2003 or 2004 or whatever it is. So that is the CNR number, and once the CNR number comes, then the proceedings begin. This is the portfolio of that particular advocate. Through his portal he can check, like the calendar that we have, he can also check his calendar. And you've seen those, the advocates these days, some of the advocates, they come with their tab, iPads, they come with their, the mobile phones, and they will be constantly checking at the time, especially when you are giving them the dates. And that's quite nice because they are using this facility to check there are how many cases for them on that particular day. And they would say, sir, madam, please, could you adjust me not on this date, but 1 day or 2 days later or earlier, so as to not clash with the dates that I have to be present in the Honorable High Court. So we normally say, all right, unless it is an important and time-bound matter. So this facility can be utilized by the advocates, which they have been doing it without carrying actually a diary physically. Like I said, once the pleadings are completed, as you open that there were 28 completed pleadings, once you click that, you'll get the list. See, e-payments done, when was the last date updated, your status, and you file it. Now, the present CIS that we use is 3.2, and in this 3.2, there is a facility to consume the the e-filed cases. Like I have already told you how it is done, and after defect clearing, the CNR number is generated. Once it comes to the court, your court staff, whoever is in the filing section, the e-filed cases comes to his or her system, and this is the page that they open. That was the page of the advocates. Complete it, they file it, and it comes to the court in this manner. This is the dashboard for the court staff. There are how many cases filed? 8. Consume it, you verify, reject, and in the 3.2 there are IA filing, e-documents, deficit court fees, so on and so forth, which is, I think, very, very interesting. Now, I've completed about e-filing. Let's talk a little bit about e-payment. Now, e-payment was also, it started here in our state a little before the COVID pandemic actually began. There was a constant request from the E-Committee of the Honorable Supreme Court of India to all the High Courts to implement e-filing and e-payment portal. Now what E-Committee of the Supreme Court have done is that they have developed the e-payment portal. This is how the e-payment works for them. Fantastic, it is very, very good. But what happened here in Sikkim is that we had a problem. We could not integrate the state treasury with e-payment portal of the E-Committee Supreme Court because of various, not technical reasons, because of various administrative reasons. The state treasury in the state of Sikkim was the State Bank of Sikkim. Now, State Bank of Sikkim was not, and I believe is still not, under the purview of the Reserve Bank of India. And therefore, we could not get access to the treasury. We didn't know, we couldn't actually understand how to deposit money, how to deposit the court fees, how to deposit the fines, and how to get it back also. Sometimes, when the court fees have to be refunded, normally during the proceedings where the court would pass an order that it does not reach the first stage of hearing, so please give back or refund the court fees. So we didn't know what to do at that time. So, and it was then that the Honorable High Court came up with an idea that let us integrate through the State Bank of India. Now, there was quite a number of meetings with the state government officials, the finance department, and they were all stuck with their rules. And it was cumbersome for us as to how to make this deposit. Otherwise, e-filing would be a farce. You file it, e-filing, but you go to a bank and pay the challan and bring your challan and show it. So that was the reason why we pushed, and we wanted that e-payment should also go along with it. Otherwise, e-filing would not serve any purpose. And after having a comprehensive discussion with the State Bank of India here in Gangtok in the High Court itself, there was an integration. Now, if you want to see the portal, it is something like this. As I said, in the High Court's page, the Honorable High Court's page, you can either go to e-filing or you can go to e-payment. Alright? Now, if I go to e-payment, it will take me to the State Bank of India's portal, which is SB Collect. Now, I go to district, let's say Kyazin. Alright, I go to establishment where I need to pay the court fees, let's say senior civil judge. Get your CNR number. I'm not doing this because this is live, alright? The party's name, advocate's name, type of fee, whether it is the court fees, whether it is fine, penalty, or judicial deposit. The amount mentioned, 500 rupees, 5,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees, whatever it is, and remarks. Let's say, for example, this is as per the order of learned senior civil judge. If you want to write a remark, you can mention it, because this keeps a record. Then either it is an organization or an individual. Mention the depositors, names, date of birth, email ID, enter the text, then you go next. Once you go next, it will take you to the payment gateway. It will give you an option to pay through your credit card, through your debit card. And then once you enter the credentials of your debit card, it's almost like doing your online shopping. The amount that you have mentioned here, the OTP counts. Once you enter the OTP, your money gets deducted and you get a receipt. That receipt, you included the number in your e-filing, and that becomes the e-payment for your court. So I go back to the e-payment, the portal that I just showed. This is the screenshot, and I think till now there has been a number of e-payment fees that is being paid regularly. But on and off, I also see that in the courts they come up with challans, physical challans. My request to all of you is you can inform them that from the comfort of their own mobile phone they can do the payment. They do not go stand in a line and take your challan, pay the fees, because once in Calcutta about 6 months ago, like Madam was also present in one of the conference, the Honorable Judge, he said, Can anybody raise your hand who has gone to the bank in the last 6 months? Hmm? There was not a single hand. And Miss Rohini, I don't know whether Miss Rohini was there. But there were more than 200 judicial officers from across the country. There was not a single hand raised, which means that we are making all our transactions, bank transactions, through the comfort of our own mobile phones. Only if you want to take a loan, you go to a bank. But for your normal transaction, we don't. You withdraw your money, we don't. You want to make this transaction, that transaction, we do it here. So why not use it for our own courts? Why do they want to stand in the line? Sometimes the collector, the bank staff is not present. Sometimes the system is not working. Sometimes the network does not work properly. So instead of that harassment, I think e-payment is the answer for quick, efficient, and cumbersome payment of your court fees, fines, judicial deposits, whatever. Now, even if you go to e-portal, e-services portal, which I had the opportunity of seeing it in Madam Subarna's phone, your e-committees portal, she has the mobile version. It's a one-stop solution for all your needs so far as the court information is concerned. It's not only for judges, it's for all stakeholders. Anybody can get into this e-portal. The website link is this, and I'm sure you must have checked this website. Get your 16-digit CNR number, get the case information. Apart from that, you can go to the district courts, NJDG, High Courts, Supreme Courts, E-Committee, Home. See, this is CNR number, your case status, court orders, cause list. Now, just to give you an example, I enter, let's say, one CNR number of my court, which I have copied it here, just to show whether it works or not. And I enter the captcha. And check. So this is the details that I get. This is a case which is already disposed of. And the reason why I'm showing you this is, it is not only the courts, the entire litigants, the entire stakeholders can, if they know the CNR number, can get the access to the case or the case details. Or let's go back to that website. Or if you want it, you can search it through your district courts, like we did it that time. Let's say, for example, it will give you this is the interface in Sikkim. They are not included Pakyong and Soring as yet, but very soon I think it will be. Let's go to, we went to South District then, let's go to North. This is the North District website. Maintained very well. I've checked this. These are the, if you can check here, if you see here, the Honorable Judges stations, you can check the names, the present judges, the present magistrates here. The circulars, tenders, whatever it is, the entire information of the district court is found here. I think well maintained, very, very nice. These are the photo galleries of the district court. Alright, so this is our madam. You can check the profile. This is Ms. Suvarna. Alright, so we go back to the home page. this. I think it's very interesting. You can check, apart from District Court to Mangal, you can check any other courts, alright? For example, West Sikkim. So this is the West District. Gives you the entire information. The information about that particular, not only that particular districts, but the tender floated, the notifications, the circular issued by that particular district. So one information which I think many of our technical staff are not using is the information concerning the duty magistrates. Because sometimes what happens is some magistrate is on leave, but there is another on duty. But what happens is that particular magistrate who is on leave is called by the police, by this and by that, and say that we have remand, we have this. Sometimes the particular magistrate is traveling, you're not able to take your call, and there would be an allegation is he's not picking up the call, he is not picking up my call, or the phone is switched off, not knowing that that particular magistrate is actually on leave. So if you can utilize these kind of information, whoever it is, the other stakeholders, if it is the police, they would, if they want to get access, they would know that the duty magistrate for this particular period, this, somebody is on leave, this, alright, which you can also get this information and also put the information in CIS 4.0. I think that is very nice. In case there is a transfer from one establishment to another, from one district to another, what happens is the judicial officer for that particular year has done these many judicial work. Suddenly it's off, it's gone. There is no data, there is no information at all. But now in 4.0 there is a facility to connect it by changing the establishment, by changing the district whenever there is a transfer, and then it continues. Because later on what happens is the administrative judge, the Honorable High Court, whenever they want an information about, let's see how many cases were there, let's see how many disposals were there, you can generate it through there, from there itself. And the interesting point of 4.0, which I found it personally interesting, I will later on show you, is the generation of this monthly statement, which we do it at the end of the month. It's a tedious process for our staff, isn't it, sir?
Even for us.
Yeah, even for us to sign on this, how many pages? 100 pages sometimes, huh? Isn't it, sir? All right. So this is the eCourts project or eCourts website that I was talking about. From the portal, we can get the access. The other thing which I would like to apprise the learned judges here is the NSTEP facility. This is the National Service and Tracking of Electronic Process. You can get the user manual online, just a screenshot that I have shown it to you. This is an app-based service, and this is used by the process servers and the courts. Now, that is just an example. I've put it in this way as well. It's just for your information, for the sake of the visuals, that when you generate a summons, unlike 5 years ago or 10 years ago, you don't need one staff or an LDA sitting there typing the names of those witnesses to whom the process is being issued. Now there is a facility where you can, during the proceedings, where you can generate these kind of processes instantly. For example, tomorrow is your witness, X. Once that is entered, once it is clicked, automatically it picks up the name, the address, and why the name, address and the other credentials are important at the time of filing is this. Please ensure that in your court establishments, whenever there is a filing, when it comes for the first time in the filing section, the credentials of that plaintiff, defendant, accused, prosecution is entered along with your email address if you have and your phone number. Because what CIS does is it picks up the information from those details which has already been fed. And then you don't need to actually enter the address if it is already there. But if you have not entered it there, if you have not entered the age, if you have not entered the email addresses, then it becomes again one person's duty to make that entry. So once it's done, it can be used until not only the end of this case, but even during the appellate stage, now which 4.0 has given us this facility, that it will travel right up to the appellate stage. And as I said, this is just the code that I wanted to show it to you, just to make you understand that how we read this code is, the state code is Sikkim, for example. MH would be, let's say, Maharashtra. WB would be West Bengal. GT is the district code. GT01 is Gangtok. This is the unique case number, and this is the year. You can see it here, I think. See, above this particular QR code, you can see this CNR number which is generated, and this is how we read. Once the process is generated, it goes to the Nazir. And for an officer, for a judicial officer, when you sit there, please ask your system administrators to give you your credentials, your user ID and your password, so that you can open the CIS of your court, check what is going on. You can make your entry yourselves, or you can ask your staffs to make the entry. But this is your personalized page. If you can check there, it's like, this is mine. See, it is assigned to me. Now similarly, it is also, the credentials are given to the court staff, Peshkar, and to the stenographer. They have their own user ID and their password. And they will not enter it from mine personally. This is my own, alright? So from here, what I can do is I can check what are the processes that has been generated, what are the processes that can be sent or not. And when the case comes up to your court, you can check it from these details, the view details. If you click it for the photo, you will see, you can see this, once you click here, the photo, because the process server, after taking the summons, you can take physically or through the system. All the process servers, they have been provided with smartphones, and this app is installed in their system. Once the court sends it, it goes to the Nazir, the Nazarat section, and the Nazir, what he does is, he has his own user ID and password. He gets into his system, he gets into this dashboard. He will see that these are the number of processes generated, not only from one court. In a court establishment like, let's say, Namchi, Mangal, wherever it is, there are different courts. District judge, family court, special courts, CJM, civil judge. So it comes to him in that portal, in his dashboard, and then he assigns, because under him there are 5, 10, 15, whatever be the number of process servers, and you know that the Nazir, what he does is, if there are 7 process servers under him, he will allocate, it's already there, it's not written anywhere, but they allocate that these 2 staff or these 2 process servers or 1 process server will cover Gangtok area, 1 process server will do the Sikkim area, one process server will do this particular area. They have their own areas to cover. So the Nazir, will assign this process to one of the process server of that particular area. The process server, once he gets the process, he gets an alert in his mobile phone, the end step. Once he opens up the app, he will see that this is the service that I have to do it. You don't need a physical copy. If you want, you can take it. But with his mobile app, he will go there, get the service done, and take the photograph, like the one I've shown it here. Because when you take a photograph, what happens is it becomes certain. Number one, for the process server, that he has gone there, served it. And for the court, that this particular party has actually received the summons. And then what happens is, there is certainty for the process server, for administrative reasons, whenever he applies for getting his travel allowance and so on and so forth, that I've already served the summons. Because without this, what had actually happened was, serving of summons was one of the biggest problem across the country. And I think that was one reason why electronic process came up. You issue a summons to another district, it does not come back at all, because you are sending it through post. You don't know that whether your Nazir is actually sending it through post. And when after 1 month you keep your date for appearance of the parties, and your Peshkar says that, Madam, we have not received the summons, it does not come back at all. So what do? You said, all right, issue fresh summons, put it after 20 days, let it come back. 20 days later, same answer. What do? Said, you are frustrated, but you will say, issue fresh summons, and this goes and on and on. But ultimately what is actually happening is, and I must say, please forgive me, that in many of the establishments, there was this kind of an understanding between the parties and the process servers as well, not to serve the summons. Not to serve the summons at all. And once the summons is not served, then the parties, actually the court cannot pass any order. If you want to declare a party, any body X party, you'll have to follow. At least there has to be some evidence that the process has been served. Now you have nothing, no evidence at all. The summons is not even coming back. So what do? We keep the cases pending, and that goes and on and on. So that was one reason why photograph was important. Now once this is your page, and from this page, when you view the photo here, if it is this particular case, now this is this case, you will see that the opposite party has actually received the summons, he has taken a photograph, and there is also a facility of signing it, because in the process that you generate physically, in the back-end side or the opposite side of the page, normally the signature of this person who receives the summons is taken by the process server. So here, the Honorable High Court, the E-Committee of the Honorable High Court has even given this, the pen, which is technically known as, or the market name is stylus pen, the stylus pen. They have given it to the process servers, and what they do is, in the smartphone itself, they will sign it. Something like this. See, she has said that, Lakshmi or something. She has signed this, he has taken that, and what the process server does, from his own phone, he sends it back. Says that, complete. It goes to the Nazir in the Nazarat section. Now what Nazarat section does is, the Nazarat section will then again give it back to all the courts. Not physically, but from the system itself. Now for example, this particular case came from District Judges Court. It will go there, back. This came from CGM, it will go back there. From the civil judge, it will go back there. and so on and so forth. And when your case is called out, you know that the service has been done. Now you can examine the process server, declare the person ex parte, and carry out the further proceedings so that there is no delay in the trial of that particular case. I think this is one great initiative, and we all should use this facility for the summons service. All right. Is there any question on summons?
So it's only for civil, no, right now? Not for criminal.
It is only for civil, but 4.0 that we have, CIS 4.0, it has gone one step ahead, and it has also included criminal cases.
Because in the previous slide, I could see the dots for civil and criminal.
Correct. It will go for, it can also generate process for criminal cases. Yesterday, in the dummy CIS 4.0, when I was just practicing a bit, I started generating process for the CZM. Normally the criminal cases are mostly in the CZM court, and from CZM we could generate processes, and then we send it in step, and thereafter we are not able to move ahead right now because of the effective integration of the, I will come later, ICJS. Now what is ICJS? Now ICJS, Ms. Suvarna will be able to tell us, because when she was the CZM here, she has done a lot of work on ICJS. The interoperable criminal justice system is a body or an amalgamation of the courts. CIS, court means CIS, all our information is in the CIS. The police, who has their own software, which is known as CCTNS. The jail authorities, who has e-prisons software. The forensic laboratories, who have their own software. The juvenile justice boards, and the other important stakeholders in the criminal justice system. When they come together, it is known as the interoperable criminal justice system. Now, whenever there is an FIR lodged in the particular police station, thanks to the present Superintendent of Police, Gangtok, who was then the nodal officer for the police department on the implementation of CCTNS in their department, he helped us in getting all the police stations across the state computerized. Any FIR that was lodged in a particular police station, according to the judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court, within 24 hours it has to be uploaded in your state portal, SCRB, and for far-flung areas or rural areas, I think it was 48 hours, and then in the NCRB. Isn't it right? So he got all these police stations, get their FIR included, put it in their system, CCTNS. CCTNS, once it's there, the SCRB and NCRB will automatically pull the data from their system. Once the investigation begins, now 4.0 is quite interesting because it also includes not only trial, it also includes pre-trial stage, the investigation stage. What are the material objects that has been seized if deposited to the magistrates? What are these? When it comes to the court staff has to make the entry. These are the material objects that has been seized, produced before the magistrate at the time of investigation. Now, once the charge sheet is complete, the charge sheet is prepared. In the physical mode, it comes through proper channel. The IO will give it to the officer in charge. The officer in charge checks, gives it to the SDPO concerned, the SDPO will forward it to the SP, and the SP will forward it to the court inspector, and the court inspector will give it to the Chief Judicial Magistrate of their districts. Now physical copies were there, but once we tried to get this ICJS integrated, the charge sheet were being scanned and these charge sheets were being e-filed. Now when it comes to e-filing, I don't know whether I have those screenshots of those screen of ICJS. When Ms. Suvarna Rai here was the Chief Judicial Magistrate Gangtok, I happened to be the CPC in the High Court, and we started as a pilot project for Gangtok. And there was a lot of filing in Gangtok, which she would open her dashboard, and she would see that, like any other dashboard, there are e-file cases. Now, the CJM gets the option to consume the data. Once the data is consumed, it goes to your CIS. Once it goes to the CIS, it can come through regular filing to the court. It can come to the CJM will then distribute it. If it is Sessions Tribe, will send it to the learned session judge. If it is Magistrate Tribe, will either keep it or give it to one of your colleagues. So this is how the ICJS operated. And this particular 4.0 has this facility, and even 3.2 has this particular facility. Now, that was the question I think Ranjita Madam raised, and that's the reason why I spoke about ICJS. Before proceeding ahead with 4.0, any question on sounds and stuff, or any other? Yes, sir?
So I have a question regarding filing.
Yes.
So whenever new cases are filed, usual practice is that case brings to the concerned JOs, and it's taken up, ordered for registration, then only it's given suit number or case number is given. Or whether it is to be done, or whether after filing, suit number is to be given and be placed before the court.
Normally, whenever there is a filing, the normal filing, in the normal process, if it is e-filed, or even if it is physical filing, they do it in the physical filing, the parties come to the Judicial Service Center, presents their suit, their plaint. The staff there checks physically whether there is any defect, gives it back. There is a checklist, whether it is maintained or not. And then after 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, it is sent to the court. Now what happens in e-filing? E-filing, there is no time at all. You can e-file it at 12 o'clock at night. You can e-file it at 1 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. There is no time at all. One advantages of e-filing is even that at your own, whatever time is convenient to you, you file it. For the court staff, they will check it during the regular court hours. Once they check it, it comes to the filing section, then they check the defects. If the defects are cured, then they will register it. Once it is registered, it goes to the particular court. So it will not come to you first, then you say register it. As a normal course, it will get registered. And because why registered, and why do we keep a person to check the defects, is that once it is registered, then it becomes difficult to again make some amendments, changes. So that is the reason why there is a checklist. Checklist for criminal cases, checklist for civil cases. And they check it if it is a regular filing. And they do it, they send it by the end of the afternoon, by 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock to your Peshkars. Peshkars will check it, get the printout and give it to you. It is already registered, CNR number is already generated. Alright? So this is how it works. You don't have to actually take it and say register, only then it will go back, because that becomes very cumbersome. Now, because the whole idea is to make it as easy as possible. So this is one thing. Any question?
So,
Yes, ma'am.
so before I ask a question, can I just add to?
Yeah, of course. Please. This is the whole idea of not only me talking, but everybody giving some inputs.
Because Mr. Seshan is new, so
Yes,
the
yes.
registration which comes with should not be coming to you usually. You have to follow the 4R method, that is filing, objection, registration, and then allocation. So after allocation is done, then it comes to you. Then you can see. If I am wrong, sir, I need to be corrected.
Absolutely right. 4I is important.
So another question I wanted for. So regarding N-step, for civil we have designated process server where the N-step ka mobile and everything is given to them. But when it comes to criminal
cases.
so there is, because it goes to the police, so there's no designated police server. It can be Lance Nayak or sometimes it will be the PI, whoever will be there, sir. So in that case, how is it going to tackle with this problem regarding N-step for criminal?
For criminal cases, as I said, once the CCTNS is connected, your court information, your process which you have generated from the criminal court, you have issued an order to summon PW 1 to 15 on these many dates. Now what happens is, it goes to CCTNS. From there it is allocated to police stations. Now, it depends on your FIR, because Ms. Urvashi is the Chief Judicial Magistrate for Pakyong. Now, Pakyong includes not only Pakyong police station, but there are a number of other police stations. Now, what happens is, and why is the registration and that inclusion of that FIR at the first instance important, is that FIR number is picked up. You issue summons for this particular case of that particular police station. The charge sheet is e-filed. You know that these are the number of witnesses listed of that particular police station. It goes to that police station. Now once it goes to that police station, now it is for that officer in charge to allocate to this, that is none of our court's business. Then it goes there. But when it comes back through the same channel, like we have it in N-step for civil matters. So this is the whole idea. Though, at least in Sikkim we have not started, but with the advent of 4.0, I believe, and I think I'm confident that we can start. We can start. And I think it will be very, very easy for the courts, instead of issuing. And another important point that I'd like to make to all of you is that many of you are in the busy courts. You are there in the courtroom till 4 o'clock, 4:30. Right? So by the end of the day, you have your administrative work. Ms. Bhutta was also saying, you have your this work and that. And at the time, your staff comes with almost 150 pages of summons to be signed. Isn't it so? And it takes about half an hour to sign these summons, and it is mechanical. You don't even look at it. You will just look at the first or second pages, and then it will be quite a success. I know. And by the end, it's your hands are paining, your fingers are aching. So once you generate this process through N-step, and if it goes there, you don't need to sign because it is digitally signed. Just see here what it mentions here at the end. Can you all read? It's too small. It's too small. Sorry, I can't increase. But what it actually says is that the process is system generated and transmitted in secure manner by authorized user. As such, physical signature not applied. It also saves you a lot of time, and I think this will be the service of summons in the future. Now let me come to 4.0. And what is 4.0? 4.0 right now is in the testing phase. That's the reason why I said it is in the dummy stage, the dummy and the server, so that we can practice, we can give our feedback, and then we can migrate.
I think so it was tested at Namchi.
Yes, Namchi was the pilot project that for 4.0, the Honorable High Court said Namchi will be the pilot project, we will test it there. So at the same time what happened is all the other districts took it. So we started testing it. Whether it works, what are the difficulties, whether this or whether that. And I must tell you that we are ready. We are ready to migrate. It is only that we have, in fact, we have even written a mail to the Honorable High Court, the CPC, asking for permission to migrate. Because when we migrate from 3.2 to 4.0, there are a lot of benefits that we have. It's almost like your phones that you have. There is upgradation of the OS, the operating system. And every time there is an upgrade, you will see that there are these bugs fixed. There are these many facilities that are there. And we thought, why not? When there is something new, when there is something good, and when there is something useful, why not adopt it? So this is the latest CIS. This is the dashboard. I have taken a screenshot of CIS 3.2. I am not saying that it is bad, but it takes a little time to understand and check. See this. Look at the pie chart, look at this, look at that, and you will actually see today's cases there. Mediation center, Lok Adalat, all right? And the interface or the dashboard of your 4.0 will look something like this. This is the login page. Once before you go to your 4.0, you have to log in. This is actually dummy server. That's the reason why it is super user. This is the dashboard. I think it is clutter-free. To my eyes, I don't know, it's your own perspective, but to my eyes it is clutter-free. And it gives these boxes. And this is your individual dashboard. Like when I logged in from my user ID, on the top you will see that this is you have logged in as let's say Ms. Subarna, Ms. Jyoti, or Ms. Mahima, or whatever it is, from here. And this is the number of cases that you have. This is your details, your court's details. See, for example, this is just dummy. Please don't mind the numbers. So this is today's cases. If you check here, you will get the details of all the cases that are filed today. It will give you undated cases. It will give you a sort of an alert, not physically there, alert, but it is an alert to you that see, Mr. So-and-so, there are these many cases where dates have not been given at all. You need to check. Now when I checked last time, there were 3 cases, not here, but in 3.2 of my court, undated. And then I checked the reason, and of course there was a genuine reason, but it was an alert that how can 3 or 4 or 5, 10 cases, there cannot be any date at all. So sometimes if it is a sine die case, or if it is if there is some order from the Honorable Superior Courts, we keep it in advance and we don't give any dates. So it goes in undated cases. But at times if there is no entry by your court staff, it also goes in undated cases. And that's the time we need to explain. Sometimes the Honorable High Court will just check and say, why is there 45 undated cases? What are these? Please give me the reasons. Now what are these? They will already know. Because once I click here, the 45 cases will all be listed. And it will also give you the last proceedings, because it has this drill down facility to go right into the order sheet. You don't need to come to check your physical order sheet. You don't need to check your order sheet, physically. Right from there, you can check it. right? There is this institution, revised and transfer. Civil, criminal, total. How many cases were instituted or received by your court on this month? And what is your disposal this month? It will give you the total. This is your pending cases. This is your dormant cases. E-charge sheeted this month. If there is any e-charge sheet that has been filed by the police, consumed through ICGS, especially from the court of CGM, not necessarily, but once it is there, these are the e-charge sheeted cases. Under trial prisoners. This was not there, this facility was not there earlier. The under trial facility, the prisoners facility, you will get it here. How many e-filed cases this month? You will get the information here. If there are judgments which are not uploaded, you will check it here. If there are any pending process, it will come here. And there is, interestingly, there is also a facility to check your cases sent on for mediation and lok adalat. Because at times what happens is, that is my experience, we refer cases on and off to mediation, to lok adalat, and we forget about it. We don't know what has happened. And if the party does not actually mention it, we tend to forget about this case because there are a number of other matters pending in your court. So it so happens that at times, even in the lok adalat, the case file goes missing. It never comes back to the referral court. And you don't know actually because you are not paying attention. Physically or humanly, it is not possible to keep track of individual cases. And then what happens is after 2 years or 3 years, there is an application in your court. What has happened to my case? Then you are alerted, that case, I remember sending it, but it does not come back. Then you scramble here, there, and then you scold your peshkar, and then the peshkar comes and says, then, sort of, then what happens is the problem begins. So if you have it here itself, in the lok adalat, number of cases that has gone, it will give you the details of the cases here. If there is in mediation, these are the number of cases. And also the prisoner ID. Once the ICGS is complete, once the e-prison facility, the e-prison module is in place, where the jail authorities enter the details of the prisoners, you can get it here itself, the details of the prisoners. Now, this was the dashboard. And if I go horizontally, I can check the cause list. It's almost like this. The cause list, if I check it, it will show you. It's almost like your Justice app. You can check the number of cases here. For example, I press on the pending cases, civil cases, I get this, just for example. And I can get not only the information that we usually get in cause list, but additional information like this. See? These are the list of documents. You can view it, what has happened in the process, and when is the next date of listing. And this column here, called for, in progress and complete, it is normally, these radio buttons are clicked by the call staff, your peshkar, because you are conducting the cases and you have seen these monitors, the screens outside your courtroom. It will show you that there are these number of cases, same, and it will start blinking. Call for, or in progress, or it is already completed. So that everybody in any of the floor, they know that this case is already over or this is being called. They don't need to scramble or call up here and there. So this is, you can also check this. The other one is, if you travel horizontally again, is the pending cases. Now here, interestingly, what happens is, this 4.0 gives you the information about all these pending cases. Radio buttons civil, criminal, both. Now here, it will also give you what kind of cases are these. And there are how many cases here? One is the chart, the other one is the type and the number of cases, the age, the reasons. That you have made an entry in your own system, it picks up from there and gives you. Now for example, in the pending age-wise cases, when I clicked here, it shows me these are the pending cases. Alright, and what are the reasons? These are the reasons. State for other reasons, so on and so forth. Just an example. If I go this side and I can check, let's say for example I have one letter of administration case. What is it? What is the age? It will show once an entry is made here. Now, the other one is disposed. We were in the pending and now there is disposed. And even in disposed, it will give you the age of the case and the time required or that was taken for disposal of that particular matter. In other words, actually what it's doing is it's picking up individual case from your court and giving you almost like an X-ray of the entire history. These are the number of witnesses. These are. See, what happens is there used to be a time where there were, let's say, 200 cases in one court, but 50 cases in another court. But if you see it properly, the court which has 50 cases were actually more burdened than that 200 cases, which because of the type of cases that were in that particular court. There are heavy cases, there are light cases. There are a number of witnesses. Sometimes in cases there are witnesses more than 20. It takes a lot of time, isn't it, sir? Now there are cases where there are no witnesses at all. There are just 2 witnesses, 3 witnesses, 5 witnesses. But the total number actually goes up to 200 or 500 and makes it look like, oh, this court is overburdened, you know. But actually that another court which has just 50 or 25 is in fact more burdened than that 200 because of the sheer number of witnesses, the kind of cases. Alright, so this CIS 4.0 has actually addressed this issue as well, which we will see it in the other slides. It will give you the age of pendency. Now if you go down, it will give you the stage, the nature of disposal, so on and so forth. And this is the delay reason that I was talking about. There are, I think, about 16 to 18 such boxes where you can see it. Why is it state? You'll mention it here. State for other reasons. These are the cases. Number of witnesses which are more than 20. These are the cases. Awaiting documents. Why is it state? Why there is pendency in your court? You know. Otherwise, what happens is actually whenever there is an information sought from the Honorable High Court that there are these many cases pending in your court for, let's say, 2019. What is the reason? What you do is we scramble and we try to check the whole case file and see what is the reason. But you know that the number of witnesses are almost 100, 150. It happens in 420 cases. It happens in private complaint cases sometimes, or even vigilance cases or CBI cases. So this is one reason. Or why? Because the documents are awaited. The CFSC report is not filed at all. Now how can I go ahead? So here you can get this information there. Or sometimes, like there is one Radhesham Singhvi pending in the court of CZM Gangtok. Miss Ranjita would know about this matter. It is pending for quite some time. Now I check, why is it pending? It shows pending for more than 10 years. Now a person, if you see that it is pending for 10 years, would be alerted as to what is the court doing till now. Yeah? The sort of people these days would just go to the social media and say that delayed justice, this and that, but they don't actually know what is the reason, real reason. That is, I think, stated by the Supreme Court, by the Honorable Supreme Court. And then you will get the information here. Because it is stated by the Honorable Supreme Court, or because it is stated by the Honorable High Court, or because it is stated by any other courts apart from the Honorable Supreme Court or the High Court. Like for example, if it is a civil judge's case, it is stated by a district judge. It happens. These are the delay reasons which I just took out for your information only. Alright. Now, the other reason is record not available. Difficulty in securing the presence of important witnesses. These many cases. Or sometimes it may happen that there are 13 accused persons or 50 accused persons or 20 accused persons. It happens in case of rioting, normally at the time of these elections. Isn't it so? There are. So, what happens? Is that out of 20, 3 are absconding. But in order to complete their process for getting ahead with the trial, you have to complete 82 and 83. And before that, the NBWA process. It takes time, isn't it so? Sometimes that accused is not from your own state. You have to send it to the other states or maybe even further, which takes time. And that is the reason why they have included this particular box as well, that you can include that there are these many cases which is actually pending in my court because one or more accused are absconding. Now, this is another reason for miscellaneous application delay process. Obstruction in the execution, whenever there is execution case, or there is a frequent challenge. It normally happens in all the court. You pass an order, there is an old case where there are 20 plaintiffs and 30 defendants. You are at your wit's end to understand that case first of all. Isn't it, sir? And then to try to plan how to dispose this matter, and then there is an IA filed. There is a miscellaneous application filed. Why? I want amendment. Isn't it so, madam? I want this. I want that. And you go ahead and say, sorry sir, I forgot to examine that particular document. I want to examine this document. Or, there is, at the time of almost final hearing, there is an application for implement. Order 1, Rule 10. Sir, you have a power under Order 1, Rule 10, Clause 2 to get the necessary party on board. Because it's a necessary party, you have to get on board, otherwise the whole trial will fail. What you do? There is no reason, but you reject it, they will go to the Superior Court. So this is one reason. I think this is very important for judicial officers to explain. Otherwise, the superior courts will not know that why is your case pending. There could be n number of reasons which the Honorable Supreme Court E-Committee has picked up from all over the country and tried to put it here. Non-availability of counsel. It happens. Parties not interested. Infructuous litigation. It happens. They don't come. One day they come, second day they don't come. Third day they send an application that I have a stomach ache. Fourth day I have a ache on my leg, and third day I have this pain and that pain. So these are.
I have one case, a family court case where the lady has filed the petition for divorce or cruelty or something, and then she's married another man and she's dead. Now she's nowhere to be found.
That's right. See. Once an Honorable Chief Justice of our High Court, Honorable Justice Astaf Saikia, when I was in Namchi, he came there in one of the programs, And he told us about a matter of a family court, perhaps of Assam. He said that that in a family matter, the judge said to the party, to the lawyer, see, this is pending for a long time. They didn't have this kind of reasons. It's pending for a long time. There is a lot of letters that I've been getting from the High Court. This is the last opportunity. Next time you settle, otherwise this case is getting dismissed. And the judge said, the family judge said, that I will give you 1 month's time. But within that judge knows that nothing is going to happen. I have to say, there is something I have to say, and so that there is some action. So after 1 month, this case comes up, and the judge says, no, oh, I think I'll get another letter from the High Court. But the counsel comes and says that, sir, we settled. And the judge is shocked, because this case is pending for a long time. And he says that, how did he do it? It is pending for so long, and in one sitting, how did he do it? And he said that, I managed to get them, and I convinced them to get separated, on mutual grounds. And I married that girl. So that was just a joke, but His Lordship then, Honorable Justice Saikia, told us in such a great humor that I can still remember it. And I think there are these kind of infractious litigations also pending in all our courts across the state and the country. Or the legal representatives are not brought under court. There could be this reason, and these are the various reasons that you will find for delay reasons. And the third one, the last on the horizontal, you will find it, the calendar. Calendar gives you a similar calendar. And as I said, like for example, on 18th, if you see it on Monday, there are 11/4, which means that there are 11 civil cases and 4 criminal cases. If I click here, it will show you almost like this. It will give you the list of, it will give you 2 radio buttons, civil and criminal. Civil I have 11, criminal I have 4. And if I click on civil, I will get the 11 total number of cases. And if I click on criminal, I will get the number of criminal cases here. Now, this is just an example that I'd like to give you. And apart from these horizontal details that we have what you call the menu bar as well. Normally this menu bar is hidden because of this sort of a transparent button. Once you press that transparent button, you will get the entire information here. This is a mine. It's almost like a mine. You will find it, everything under the e-courts, you will find it here. It starts from, if you go to home, your dashboard will come. Configure establishment, you can configure the establishment. The master, where you map it is for the the administrators to do it. User menu, unification, the admin menu, like somebody said, filing. Mr. Sisihan mentioned about, you have filing counter, where you go for filing. For example, this is a user menu. If I open this, there is a drop-down box of role management, change password, so and so, which the admin can do this. Now, see, the admin can also restore the file, which is, sometimes it so happens that the case is dismissed on default, parties did not appear. Once, twice you called, so you dismissed on default. Now there is an application for restoration of that particular case. It happens, and the party gives you a very good reason, a solid reason, why he or she was not present on that date. You are convinced, you restore it, but how do we do it? Because physically you could just bring the file and then set restore it, but here we follow the process. The admin gets this facility from here to restore the file. The filing counter has this 3 drop-down menu, case and caveat filing, reports, case diary entry. The registration section, here the filing counter and the registration section, we do it with the same number of staff, with the same staff. So they do all this registration, case scrutiny, they do all these work, and then case allocation. Then it goes to case proceedings. Now, this is daily proceedings that normally your Peshkar opens in his or her system when the cases are going on. And after the day's business is over, you'll have to make the entry here. Interestingly, this time they have also included the VC facility, which is not there earlier. This is the VC facility here. This is process generation, like we did it for the end step. Please try to remember, in the end step we generate it, and how to generate it, it will be from this particular menu. You generate the process, either criminal, civil, and then do it. Alright. This is the under trial prisoners details, which if connected through your e-prisons, all these data will be pulled from that particular e-prison software itself. This is the mediation information that we have it here. Lok Adalat. This is the unit-wise disposal, how many units that we got. This is the transferee court, whenever there is transfer also. This is quite interesting. This is the balance sheet at the end of the day or end of the month that we have it in our courts. We don't know what are the number of cases, because other times what you have to do is you will have to call for your monthly statement. But your earlier monthly statement and the current monthly statement is not going to match. And that monthly statement is only going to be prepared at the beginning of that month. And you are right now almost at the end or at the mid of the month. But you want the balance. You can't remember how many cases you've disposed of, how many is transferred. From here, what you can do is, I've just done it here. I selected civil cases. It will give me the number of judges in district court, Gangtok. And for example, I chose just for, in the dummy version, let's say Ms. Jyoti Kharka. I select, then I go and I view. Now I get it collects the entire data and gives me that this is the balance. This is the balance sheet. As on that date, yesterday I just checked it. This is alright. This is just a dummy version, just for your own information. It will also give you pendency wise, your pendency report, your monthly statement. I think this is very important, one of the most used feature of 4.0 would be this. You go to monthly statement, select your court. For example, I selected the Sada court. Select the date from when to when. You can have it from this year to that year also, but normally monthly statement we do it from that month to the end of this month. And then I view it and I get this. I get the entire monthly statement. Your staff need not actually sit down and enter it. You will get this entire thing and you send it to the Honorable High Court. I think, isn't it this easy? This makes a lot of sense. And one thing is, I don't even think that we need to send this, if you see it from another perspective. Whoever is the admin there in the Honorable High Court can generate it there itself. Either take a print out or in a soft copy and place it before the Honorable Judges. So this is one interesting aspect that I found.
So then there will be a reduction in those Lok Sabha questions also. Lok Sabha staff questions that we can do.
Lok Sabha staff questions, I completely agree.
Papers.
Sorry.
Papers
also.
Yeah, papers as well. This is absolutely right, madam. Because Lok Sabha star questions or unstarred questions it comes very often, very frequently. And from this, they can just take it out and send it. Once this. And why I have requested you all to just check this is because I think this is very, very helpful. And actually, I found it helpful, and I thought that all my colleagues should know about this. All right. We also have about pre-trial. See, it will give you, once you open the pre-trial, it will give you this dashboard of the accused in police remand. It's very helpful for especially the learned magistrates. How many there are there in jail? How many are there in the police custody? Sometimes you forget, or you can't keep tab of the number of prisoners. You can't keep number of prisoners of which police station, right? Sometimes there could be 1, 2, 5, 10 from here and there. They could have come simultaneously, and you may have given them remand, but forgotten. Your staff also forgets. You have given 2 days or 5 days remand, but there is no further remand from them, and they don't even come back to you. And what you do, you also forget. So what happens is, later on we get into problem. So, but if you use this, I think it's going to save us a lot of time and problem. This is for the copying branch. I think easy for them as well. This is ICJS. I have already explained about what is interoperable criminal justice system, how to consume FIR, how to verify and consume the charge sheet. This is the e-charge sheet. This is the dashboard. Now, I don't think we have much time, but and I'm sure all of you must be using this ESCR, isn't it so? Electronic SCR. Use this. It's very helpful for the judges because it is the number of cases that are in ESCR. I think you will not even find many of them in some of the commercial subscriptions that we utilize. This is the official, the judgment portal of the Honorable Supreme Court of India, which includes not only the Honorable Supreme Court's judgment, but even the judgments of the Honorable High Courts across the country. Alright? So if you just see this, it almost opens like this, alright? Now if I enter a captcha of 10, it looks almost something like this. Now let's say I search for, earlier this year, there was one important case on MSCT for the MSCT tribunals, which is known as Gohar Mohammed. Gohar Mohammed was one case, after which we started actually utilizing and using the IAR, the FAR, and then we registered the MSCT miscellaneous cases based on Gohar Mohammed's case. Now in Gohar Mohammed's case, there is a concept of limited liability which has been discussed. All right. But you don't know how to take it out. Let's say we just text it limited liability. All right. Now I go here and search. Now it will give me, these are the number of cases that has used the term limited liability. This is 1 of 10, and there are 114 cases. Now I can also go search within my search, and I can try to find out that this is a motor accidents case. And I try to find out, and it will show me that in Gohar Mohammed also it was discussed. If I want to open this, I can open, and just take a note of this. This is actually your neutral citation, which is not very long ago, but this is now the neutral citation for the High Courts and the Honorable Supreme Court. I open this and I get the information that I want. All right, I think this is a useful tip for all of us, and actually I'm past my time. There are other slides as well, but I will try to cut short. Some of the AI tools that perhaps you all may find it interesting is ChatGPT, the Copilot, Microsoft Copilot, Quillbot. You want to check your grammar, you want to check your paraphrase, all right? And what I do is, sometimes I use this 365 because I don't have a stenographer sometimes, or I have some problem with the, whenever I'm at home, I can't type, so much. And what I do is I just want to dictate. I want to dictate.
What is it? Microsoft Word.
Thank you all for your
Patience here.
patient hearing. And if there is any question, I will take it. And I will take this opportunity to thank the Honorable the Chief Justice, the Honorable Judge in charge of this Academy, the Director of this Academy, and the Director, Deputy Director, for giving me this opportunity to come here and give my presentation. Thank you, wish you a good day and a great weekend.